In today's video, I'm breaking down one of the least talked about but fastest pathways to Canadian PR, which is the Rural Community Immigration Pilot or RCIP. Only 14 rural communities across Canada are part of this pilot, but if you are eligible, your journey to PR can be incredibly quick. I'll just put a screenshot of the eligible communities for this particular pathway. You can see where those communities are located. One community is in Nova Scotia. Ontario has 5 communities. Manitoba has 3 communities. Saskatchewan has 1. Alberta has 1. BC has 3 such communities. As of the time of recording this video in 2026, there are only 14 rural communities eligible for this particular pathway. So let's walk through everything you need to know step by step so that you can understand whether this pathway is right for you. RCIP is designed to help smaller Canadian communities fill critical labor shortages that they are currently facing. These communities have designated employers who are allowed to hire skilled foreign workers when they cannot find any local talent or people. So if you get hired by one of these employers and meet the eligibility criteria, you can apply for PR directly. You don't need to wait for any draw or any kind of nominations coming through. So let's start with the eligibility criteria. We will look at the eligibility criteria of an ideal candidate. So as a candidate, you will need to get hired by one of the employers in the designated communities. So you will need to get hired, which means you need a valid job offer from one of these employers. So job offer is one of the most primary requirements. In addition to this, you need to meet certain more requirements. Like for example, you need to have at least 1 year of work experience or 1,560 hours of paid work experience in the last 3 years. So when you are applying for this particular pilot, in the last 3 years, you must have accumulated at least 1 year of work experience. There is no fixed NOC list, but your experience must match the tier level of your job offer. So depending on your job offer and the tier level of your job offer, the extent to which your past experience can be used towards that 1 year qualification experience would depend on your tier level of your current job offer. It's quite possible that your past experience is not in the same tier level as your current job offer, and this table provides an explanation to that. So for example, if you have a job offer in tier 0 or 1, and if your past experience is from jobs in 0, 1, 2 and 3, you can still count that experience towards your 1 year of qualification limit. However, this is not same for each job tier. For example, if you have a job offer in tier 2, you cannot count any experience from tier 0. You can only count 1, 2, 3 and 4. Similarly, if you look at tier 5, if you have a job offer in tier 5, your past experience must be the experience from the same 5-digit NOC code. So I would say tier 5 is more restrictive as compared to other tiers. If for some reason, if you have a job offer from tier 5, make sure that you have 1 year of experience in the same NOC from your past work experience. However, if you are a student in that community, if you studied in that particular community, you can be exempted from this 1 year work experience criteria. So depending on your credential that you have studied, depending on the course that you have studied in the community, you can be exempted from this 1 year experience. If for example, if you have done a program of 2 years or longer, if you have studied full time, and if you have lived in that community for at least 16 of the last 24 months that you were studying, then if you apply within 18 months of your graduation, you can be exempted from the 1 year work experience. However, if you have done any course which is 2 years or less, then obviously you will have to prove that you have studied there full time and you have lived for the whole period in that particular community. And if you meet this criteria and apply within 18 months of your graduation, then you could be exempted from the 1 year of work experience. However, there are certain nuances to the kind of program that you can do in these communities. Like for example, if English or French is more than 50% of the program, you cannot get this exemption. Or if you are doing distance learning for more than half a program, you cannot get exemption for the 1 year of work experience. So now we have understood the work experience requirements for this particular pilot. As a candidate, you also need to satisfy the Canadian language benchmark or the CLB score for this pilot. Your CLB score requirements will depend on the tier level of your job offer. So for example, if you have a job offer which is in tier 0 or 1, then your CLB needs to be 6. If you have a job offer which is tier 2 or 3, your CLB needs to 5. And if you have a job offer in a tier 4 or 5 job, then your CLB needs to be 4. This CLB 4, 5 or 6 calculation depends on which test you are taking. So say for example, if you are taking CELPIP, this is how different levels is calculated, and if you are doing IELTS, this is how the different levels are calculated by IELTS. You can take any of the language test which is recognized by IRCC, and your CLB score would be based on that. One important thing to note here is that the CLB is based on the NOC of your job offer and not your past experience. So even though you can add experience from your past NOC, as we just discussed earlier, your CLB should always correspond to your current tier. So that is very important to keep in mind. And as applies to all PR applications, these CLB scores must be less than 2 years old when you apply. Next, as a candidate, in addition to work experience and language requirements, you also need to meet education requirements, and you need to provide what is called an ECA for your foreign degrees. The minimum education requirement for this particular pathway is the Canadian high school diploma or equivalent. If you have done your education in Canada, then you don't need to provide your ECA. But if you have done your education from outside Canada, you will need to get an ECA from one of the IRCC's designated organizations. There are 5 organizations which are designated by IRCC, and you can choose any one of them depending on your area and your preference. I have created a video on ECA on how to choose the correct organization, what would be my recommendations, and then how to make applications to each of these organizations. So you can watch that and get idea on how to make your ECA application step by step from those videos. Any ECA that you get should be less than 5 years old, and it should show the Canadian equivalency of your foreign education. As I said, the minimum is Canadian high school diploma, and you need to prove that based on your ECA. Once you have received your ECA, the next thing that you need to satisfy, if for some reason, if you are working in a specialized profession like doctor, architect or pharmacist, you may need to get some additional assessments. So there are additional requirements for these professions, so you can always expand the list and check your requirements. Next, last but not the least, is the requirements for settlements of funds. You must show proof of funds based on your family size. So depending on the size of your family, means you and your dependents, the funds that you are required to show is different. So you can follow this table and understand how much funds are required. Few things we need to understand as far as settlement funds are concerned. Number one is these funds must be available to you. So you have to show and prove it by, say, bank statements, bank drafts and other documents. Next, this is not a fee. You don't have to pay this fee or deposit this money anywhere. You can have these funds with you and just show a proof to IRCC at the time of doing application. Also, depending on when you are watching this particular video, the dollar amount that you're seeing on the screen right now could have changed. So always follow the latest dollar amount. And this is just a minimum amount guidance. It's always recommended to have a little more than that if you can, as this funds is basically a representation of the fact that whether you would be able to support yourself and your family while in Canada. So if you have satisfied the work experience, language, education and funds requirement, then you are an ideal candidate for this particular pilot, provided you are able to secure a job in one of these communities from a designated employer. So the pilot's webpage has a tool where you can select your particular community and go to that particular community's website and have a look at the employers that are available and the jobs that are available with those employers. So these communities are working with their employers to actively create a job bank so that candidates can apply directly. So you can apply directly to the employers, and once they find a fit with you as a candidate, they will issue you a job offer. Once you receive a job offer, what these employers will do is they will submit something called a community recommendation application on your behalf to the community. Once this recommendation application has been submitted by employer to the community will basically do a certain check. They will check your job offer, they will check your eligibility, your documents, and basically to check that whether you as a candidate meet all the requirements of this particular pilot. This is a very important step in this particular process, because once a community approves your recommendation, once a community issues you a recommendation, then you can directly apply for PR as soon as you get a community recommendation. You need not wait for any kind of provincial nomination or any kind of express entry draw or waiting for any kind of invitations. Once you have the recommendation, you can apply for PR immediately, and this is where the strength of this particular pilot lies. Once you receive your community recommendation, you go to the IRCC's PR portal and start doing your PR application. The processing time is similar to all other PR streams. There is no special or accelerated processing available for this particular pilot. If you have followed this video along for this long, you must have noticed how fast this process can move if everything's fall into place. Once you get your offer, once you have applied for your PR, if your employer wants you to start working immediately, there is an option of getting a 2-year of closed work permit for yourself. You as a candidate can get a 2-year of closed work permit where you will be able to work in that community for that employer only, and your spouse can also get a 2-year of open work permit, but that work permit would be restricted to the same community. So this allows you to start working right away without waiting for PR approval. When you are doing PR application, you will obviously have to pay the PR application fees. The PR application fees for this particular pilot is still as same as other pathways, which is 1525 per person. This fees is accurate as of the time I'm recording this video. This can change depending on when you are watching this video. On top of this fees, there are some additional costs which you may need to incur. For example, for a medical exam or for a biometrics test or for police clearance. These documents are required for any PR application. So there is nothing special or different in this particular PR application. Police verifications are required for all the PR applications. So once you get your community recommendation, start working on getting your police clearance, and the extra cost that you need to incur for that would be on top of the fees, 1525 fees that IRCC would take. If you have followed this video till now, you would have understood that the Rural Community Immigration Pilot is a very powerful opportunity for skilled workers who are open to living in smaller Canadian communities. If you meet the eligibility criteria and can secure a job offer from a designated employer, RCIP offers one of the fastest and most direct pathways to Canadian PR without the uncertainty of any draw or waiting for any kind of nomination. So if you found this breakdown helpful, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more immigration insights. If you have questions, reach out in the comments and I will try answer. I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much.